Hi, my name is Jake. Now let's talk music. All right, so today is Wednesday the 11th. Uh I got finished with my finals for today, and whereas like during the finals I always listen to music during like tests. Like that goes back to high school. Sometimes I got in trouble for that, but I don't care. It like helps me focus more on what I'm doing. But at the same time, I'm also listening to this music, like digesting everything within. So I took that time to re-listen to For Your Eyes Only. I also listened to a couple of albums, which will be the next two videos. Well, I've I listened to For Your Eyes Only before taking the test, and I listened to one of the two albums before and during the test, and then I finished the other album while taking the test and while on the walk home. So yeah, that's three albums in one day. Not bad. But yeah, just like first before I even talk about those other two albums, I wanted to talk about For Your Eyes Only. So honestly, I love this album. This is his fourth studio album, and honestly, one of the most feels like personal and like it truly centers around this one idea of it's his friend who he was dealing with the street life and had a daughter with a woman, and what talked about the struggles with that and how eventually this man had died and had asked J. Cole, you know, I want, like, right before his death, he was like, J. Cole, I want you to make this album for me and, like, keep it in your vault, like, until my daughter is ready to hear this. And it really was honestly so personal and so like sad listening to everything that is happening to this person. So like it's an amazing album experience and truly one of my favorite J. Cole albums. But I will say there is some like tracks that could be taken out of this, that like even though they like fit like the theme, it's just it feels like a little bit of a filler. But at the same time, like I'm not gonna say like too much bad stuff about this album because I truly think it's an amazing album and an amazing album experience. But like going through the track list, I mean, honestly, an amazing intro with For Whom the Bells Toll, and then you move into Immortal, Deja Vu, Ville Mentality. And what I do want to say about She's Mine Part 1 and Part 2, like, yes, they go within the storyline, and yes, they work within the track list, I guess. It's just, it they're a little bit too much for me. I feel like they might have been able to be left out and everything could work together still amazingly. It just feels like it's truly more of an instrumental take and less about what J. Cole is saying. Like when I listen to it. But at the same time, you still get some good bars from him inside of these songs. So even though I sometimes complain about these two songs, they still work within the track list and they add to the story. So I'm not gonna say too much bad about those. Then you get some like Change, some like Neighbors, which I remember. I forget who it was. NFR podcast. They said they weren't a big fan of Neighbors or Folding Clothes, and it's like when I listen to those, it's like, how are you not a big fan? Like it is honestly an amazing soundscape within Neighbors. Like yes, it's not really inventive, but like lyrics for the hook is like neighbors think I'm selling dope. Like it seems so simple, yet it works so great within the instrumental, and it truly adds to the story. So I personally don't see the problem within that track. And then also folding clothes, it's like it's kind of a love story within itself, like saying, I want to fold clothes for you, I want to do this for you, I want to do this for you, I want to make it work between me and you know? And that also goes within the storyline because this guy, like him and the girl that have like had this child, they're on a rough spot and they're like arguing over like, oh, you need to do more for this baby. You need to do this for this baby. But he's like, you know, like even in the outro on For Your Eyes Only, he's like, man, I'm the one who put those J's on her feet. I'm doing this for her. I'm doing that for her. Like this daughter of mine is like my whole world to me. Like you can tell he's a good father, but he's just like in the wrong circumstances where like this gang mentality has truly hurt him and has truly changed the life of others, including his daughter. Which honestly, when you get to For Your Eyes Only, it truly shows like, you know, he's saying, I'm sorry that I am the way I am. I hope that you can forgive me, and I want you to know that I've always loved you. Like, that's the message you get from that. Like, even J. Cole is like, he's saying like everything that his friend has like told him to say, and then he's like, it's like, all right, I have to add on to this. Like, yeah, your father, he was a real one, but not for everything that he does out on the streets or everything he does with the gangs or like selling dope, like anything like that. He's a real one because he loves you. And like that was the last line of that song, and then the album finishes. I'm like sitting there like the first time that I ever listened to this, I'm like, oh my god, like th- this is the true embodiment of an amazing album, and honestly one of my favorite outros to a single album. Like I couldn't name one that is better than this off of the top of my head. Like I love Saint Pablo from Life of Pablo, but it doesn't come close to this. Like I'm trying to think of like outros that I know I love. 2009 off of Swimming, 2007 off of the Forever Story. Like these songs, they're amazing, but they don't touch For Your Eyes Only. And it's like an 8 to 9 minute track of just a masterpiece. I mean, it's along the lines of something like "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst," like a true masterpiece of a song. But yeah, honestly, I truly love this song, this album. I truly love this album, and I would say it's probably my third favorite album by, well, my second favorite album, but third favorite project by J. Cole. Just like all this the nostalgia of Friday Night Lights and like re-listening to that this year, it's truly aged beautifully, and I think that would be ahead of For Your Eyes Only for me, but it's close between those two. But honestly, the number one will always be for 2014 Forest Hills Drive. But yeah, I mean, J. Cole has an amazing discography, and I feel like I wish he wouldn't have put out My Delete Later this year because other than that, I feel like the worst album he has in his discography would be the Sideline Story. I love that album, but I feel like Born Sinner, uh, there's better hits, but there's also a lot of filler, so that's the problem with it. But with Sideline Story, I feel like it took too much from the mixtapes and it didn't really establish anything himself. I mean, other than Work Out, which is like one of his biggest hits, it's like it didn't really do anything establishing wise his career because it really rode off the success of the high like the biggest songs of the mixtapes. But honestly, the only thing that truly came out from that album that can stand alone is Workout. But yeah, the next J. Cole album that I'll be talking about is KOD, and also I'll listen to the off season for the first time. I'm excited about that. I've heard like different songs off of the album, but I've never like sat down and truly listened to it start to finish. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And then after the off season, you have My Delete Later, and eventually The Fall Off, which actually just got announced recently. It's the fifth and final Dreamville Fest, which it is crazy to think about. Like they've only done five, but it's going to be the last one, and it's truly looking like with the fall off, J. Cole will retire from music, which I'm just sad about that, you know? Definitely one of the best rappers of our generation, and you just hate to see that he's going to be retiring. But if that's what he truly wants to do and truly thinks he needs to do, then I'm I'll back him, you know? I mean, honestly, the music business is a cutthroat business, and everything that's been going on in recent years, especially this year, it's like really showing that. So yeah, I I'm not gonna be mad if he decides to retire after the fall off. But yeah, honestly, I I can't wait for the fall off though. I think it will be coming out 2025, and I think it will be the best album of that year. Honestly, I don't know like everything that's coming out in 2025. I know Mac Miller has Balloonerism, Kanye has Bully. Um, it's looking like I Am Music will come out in 2025. Uh, Other than that, I don't have like anything else I can think of that's coming out in 2025. So I truly think that J. Cole will have the best album of 2025. Now, if I'm wrong, we can come back to this and call me an idiot. Uh, Also, Kendrick might be dropping next year, so it's going to be between Kendrick and J. Cole next year. And also, if Tyler decides to drop again. But yeah, honestly, I'm excited for 2025. After 2024, I I feel like 2025 is going to be another great year. But yeah, honestly, that's truly all I have left to say for this episode. So yeah, until next time, peace.